Okay, everybody. Well, to honor your time, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us this evening to explore the career course and pathway options that you have available to you within the district. Our team will be rolling out these events throughout the next few weeks so that we can highlight the special career courses and pathways available at individual high schools throughout the district so that you have a better sense of what you have access to. If you are here tonight, we will be talking about Aliso Niguel High School and Tesoro High School's career technical education offerings. So that's what you're here for. You are definitely in the right place. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce myself and the team in just a second, but before we do that, let's go into some housekeeping items so that we're all on the same page. Just to let you know, this recording, this webinar is going to be recorded, so you will have access to it after tonight. If you see this chain link icon on the screen, that means that there is going to be a hyperlinked resource available to you when we send you the PDF of this presentation after this evening. Your cameras are off, your microphone is off. This is a webinar setting, so you just have to sit back and enjoy the information, okay? Please take advantage of the Q&A if you have any questions. That's the best way for our team to manage the questions coming in so that we don't miss any of your questions. Oftentimes, if you put your questions in the chat, we can miss it if a lot of people are sending chats through. Just know that this presentation is one of many, many different presentations that will be available to you throughout the rest of this semester and throughout subsequent school years. If you ever want to access anything that we've ever done before, please check out our YouTube channel. It is an archive of over 100 webinar recordings that we've done for our families and is a great place to start if you want to start digging around and beginning that college and career journey with your child. So my name is Bea, and I am a counselor with CUSD-Futureology. I'm joined here by my entire team tonight. I'm so happy to be with everybody. We always try to, join in together to support the families of the district. I'm joined here by my colleague, Erica, Kristen, Monica, and we have a very special guest tonight, our new coordinator of college and career guidance, Ms. Erica Gardner. We're very excited to have Erica as a part of the district, and she's going to be doing some amazing things to help grow an amazing program already. We also have a very special guest who you will meet in a little bit, Amanda, who will tell you about her experience taking career technical education courses in the district. Let's go ahead and talk about tonight's agenda so that you have an idea of what's to come. So we're going to start off by defining career technical education and what that looks like in Capistrano Unified School District. As possibly parents of younger students, it's really important for you to understand that this is a viable option for your child. And the sooner you learn about this, the more you can take advantage of throughout high school. After that, we're going to actually get into the specific offerings that we have district-wide at Aliso Niguel High School and at Tesoro High School. And we're going to see how this all plays out and how it can really play into your child's existing interests, hobbies, strengths, passions. Finally, we're going to wrap it up by discussing next steps and resources that you can use to move forward in your exploration journey. So let's go ahead and get moving right along. So what is career technical education? Okay, so some of you might be familiar with this term, but not all of us know exactly what it means, right? So career technical education is state-funded education that provides career and technical preparation for students. The state has identified that it's very important for students to be able to get this kind of experience and training while they're in high school. The entities that provide career technical education are WASC accredited. So that means that the courses that our students take in the district, all of the CTE courses that they're taking are accredited. And the program itself is accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, which is our primary accrediting agency on the West Coast in California. Career technical education is an excellent way to prepare students for careers, for life after high school. It's giving them technical skills. It's also giving them academic skills. Within these career technical education classes, the teachers are uniquely qualified to teach the area that the students are learning in. They have had experience, they have had industry experience on the subject that they are teaching. So it's a really kind of cool way for students to learn because they're learning from a credentialed teacher, but they're learning from a teacher who has actually had experience in that industry, who can give them that firsthand knowledge and perspective from their work in that area. Some of them are still currently working in the industry and some of them are retired, right? So we have a really wide breadth of the types of teachers that we have in the CTE courses. These are elective courses oftentimes, but some of them will satisfy science requirements. Some of them will satisfy math requirements. It's going to depend on the class that the students take. But these are an excellent way for students to get challenging work that is oftentimes weighted or articulated with a community college, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's a great way for students to learn employability skills, technical skills, right? Soft skills, how to deal with other people, how to operate in the world of work. But they're also learning core academic curriculum as well. So it's just a really robust, excellent way for students to learn academic skills again, but incorporating in that career element. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit as far as how it is structured in California. So in California for CTE, there are 15 industry sectors. In our work with students, when we talk to students, we help them break down careers by clusters, you might hear them referred to as, right? Or industry sectors. You see them here on the screen. I know it might be a little bit hard to see, but you'll see it better when we send you the presentation. But the industry sectors are a great way for us to kind of identify and separate different areas that students can explore when they're looking into careers. So we have here, for example, business and finance as a sector, fashion and interior design as a sector, or architecture and engineering, right? So those are the sectors. Within each sector, you're going to find different pathways. And in the state of California, we have identified 58 different career pathways within these industry sectors. I'll give you an example. If we look at, let's say, engineering and architecture as a sector, within that sector, we have these 4 different pathways that students can explore and that they can actually get training in while they're in high school and in college, okay? So one of those pathways might be something like architectural design, which we are going to talk about in a second because Aliso Niguel High School actually offers architectural design. But that's how it's structured. So if you ever hear the word sector or pathways, that's what we're referring to. There are 15 general industry sectors, and within those sectors, we have individual career pathways that students can explore. Okay, so that was kind of the structure of it, right? How we might categorize the different career technical education courses and pathways students can explore. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about CTE courses. So CTE courses, again, are courses that are teaching students academic, technical, and real-world knowledge. It's so different from the core classes that they take day to day. And Amanda will tell you more about her experience in this in a little bit, but it's a great way, again, for students to learn technical skills, real-world work skills that they wouldn't otherwise learn in a core academic class. Not to mention, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it about a million more times, is that the CTE courses offered through our district are all A through G approved by the UCs in the Cal States. So every single one of these courses are considered college prep courses. Not to mention, many of them are weighted, so they're honors level work, either because the rigor of the course is at an honors level, or because it has been articulated, so there's an agreement between the high school and a local community college that it is the equivalent of a college class, in which case if a student takes it and does well, they can earn college credit in the at the same time as they're earning that high school credit. It's a really great experience, and it's a really great kind of getting a big bang for your buck when you're taking a class. But that is in essence a CTE course, right? So CTE course is that. Now, you might have heard the term CTE Pathways. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, right? So by definition, and this is the CDE definition, the California Department of Ed definition, a high school CTE career pathway is defined as a sequence of CTE classes that are equal to or exceed a minimum of 300 hours in one industry sector. That's a very technical definition. You really don't have to worry so much about the specifics, okay? But this is just to define it with the official definition of what a CTE pathway is as defined by the California Department of Ed. Typically, a pathway, if it's an official pathway, will be about 2 classes. Sometimes it could be 3. Sometimes it might be even 1 class, depending on the number of hours that the students have to devote to that class. But they're a way to connect students to a career pathway. By having a student take CTE pathway courses in a particular pathway, it's preparing them for employment in that industry eventually. It's giving them the skills and the knowledge that they need to be better prepared to enter into that career pathway, if that makes sense, right? But that's the purpose of it, is to prepare them professionally. And while they do this, they are also preparing themselves for post-secondary education, for college, if that is their goal as well. A couple things to note for these CTE pathways as defined by the California Department of Ed. If a student decides to actually pursue an official pathway, the order of the courses matter, and students have to earn a C- or higher in the grades for it to kind of count by the state. Don't worry too much about that, okay? This is just an official definition. We're going to have a little bit more fun kind of discussing how we can take advantage of all CTE courses in a minute, but I just wanted to define it for you so that you had a better idea of what we mean when we say a CTE pathway officially, okay? This is some really important information that parents should know about. The California dashboard is the way that the state can keep accountable LEAs or districts, right, and schools in the state to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do to keep students ready, engaged in school, ready for college, right? One of the measures that, or one of the areas that are measured on the California dashboard is the college and career readiness measure, okay? And this is the district preparing students for college and career after high school? Are they doing their job, making sure that students are going to succeed after they leave Capo Unified? I'll have you know that our district's CCR indicators are really great. We do a really good job across the board, but one of the ways that that is measured, one of the ways that they can measure success is the district producing CTE pathway completers? That's what we would call it. Are students taking advantage of specific pathways and the specific sequences to meet this particular requirement? So it's definitely an important indicator. 91% of students who took 2 to 3 CTE courses in high school are enrolled in college. That's a fact. That's a statistic for you. So that's just proof right there that students who engage in career technical education while they are in high school, that results in success and enrollment in post-secondary education in college. Just another reason to consider taking a CTE course, right? So that was a lot of information about CTE, career technical education. So you might be wondering, well, who offers CTE? We know that it's at CUSD, but who's actually offering or providing CTE in Capo Unified? College and Career Advantage is the entity, right, that provides our students with CTE courses. So this is where we get into CCA. You might have heard CCA, right? And in my mind, I interchange CCA with CTE courses because CCA is the entity that is providing, that is overseeing these CTE courses that are available to our students. So it's a joint partnership, CCA, between Capistrano Unified and Laguna Beach Unified School Districts. And CCA provides career technical education for our students, right? That's how we have access to all of these courses. Some of you in here might know these courses as ROP. They are ROP courses, right? But they are not the ROP courses of yore. They are so much more robust. Not that ROP courses of yore were not. I started my career in career technical education with ROP. I love it. But these courses are definitely changing and just getting better and better every day. But if you hear CCA or College and Career Advantage, just know that CCA is responsible for providing these courses, right? This is how we have career technical education in the district. So a little bit about CCA, they provide CTE courses to our students. So if you hear CCA course, that's what we're referring to. It's a CTE course, okay? There are different courses and career pathways offered at every high school, which is why you're here tonight to learn more about Aliso and Tesoro's offerings. Within our district, we have 38 different pathways, 150 different CTE or CCA courses offered to our students. All are A through G approved. Over 56 are honors weighted. Some are articulated with community colleges. And these are all on your student's high school transcript. So if your student takes one of these classes, it goes on their transcript. It's reported to the colleges that they apply to. It is a high school course, okay? But hopefully that sheds some more light on the terminology so that when you hear CCA, you know what we mean, okay? So why should a student take these courses? I'm very passionate about this, coming from a counseling perspective, but also from a college admissions perspective. I think it's very important that students consider CTE courses throughout high school. They are earning grades and credits towards graduation for one thing, right? They're gaining experience for immediate employment if that is their goal, because not everybody is going straight to a 4-year after they graduate. And by taking these classes, these students are getting certification, they're getting technical skills that can lead to higher employability and job opportunities right off the bat. A lot of these courses will offer internships, which is really hard to get for a high school student. So to have a built-in internship is a total extra added bonus and something that students love about CCA. They can earn certificates of completion or even industry certifications. They can get certified in different programming languages. They can get CPR certified, first aid certified, right? So depending on the class, they're actually getting valuable takeaway hard skills. They can earn college credit depending on the class. And this is an invaluable way for students to explore careers, for students to explore majors while they are in high school. I don't think there is a better way for a student to explore careers and majors than to take a CTE course. And this is all, let me remind you, for free. So some of these courses that students have access to, adults have to pay for in order to get the technical training to move on to work in industry. But all of these courses are free to every student in our district, right? And for our graduates, there is an adult program that will also provide free CCA courses should they want to pursue certification after they graduate from high school. They can take classes like pharmacy clerk or tech or surgical tech and take these courses again for free to enter the workforce immediately thereafter. I want to make this connection for all of you between careers and college. Again, CCA, right? College and Career Advantage. It's a combination of both. So when students engage in career technical education, when they're taking a CCA course, they are getting both of those elements in one place. On the career side, they have applied learning. They are applying immediately what they're learning into that real world setting, right? Taught by a teacher who has worked in industry. They're getting exposed to potential internships. They're getting those hard skills. They're also getting soft skills, employability, 21st century skills like communication, digital citizenship, entrepreneurial mindset, through the projects that they have to engage in class, through the different ways that they have to demonstrate their skills. They're also demonstrating soft skills that are going to make them really employable and really good college candidates at the same time, right? So speaking of that, how does this play into college admissions? How does this play into their journey as a prospective college candidate? Like I mentioned again, these are A through G approved courses that are often weighted, so that can help boost their GPA. These are sometimes articulated with community colleges, which can definitely help and also possibly boost their GPA. And finally, it's a demonstration of their interest in a particular area, right? It's going above and beyond the high school schedule and showing an academic story of their passion, of their interest, of their curiosity. So it doesn't have to be that you have to know what you want to do to take a CTE course. You can take a CTE course to explore, right? To learn more. And this is why I'm so passionate about it and why I think every student should consider it because it helps everybody. Whether you're college bound or you're not, it's giving you invaluable skills to survive in the world after you graduate from high school, right? With that being said, I want to welcome a very special guest to join us this evening. We have with us a CCA ambassador, a student who was chosen because of her outstanding performance as a student and her engagement and her love of CTE. So Amanda, if you could join us, I'd love to ask you some questions so that you could tell our families here tonight about your experience, just so that they have some firsthand knowledge of somebody who's been through this. But can you start off by telling us about yourself, your grade, your school, etc.?
So I'm Amanda. I'm a junior at Aliso Niguel High School.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. So Amanda, what classes have you taken through CCA?
I actually took business management with Miss Whiteside, and I had a really good experience with my first college course, kind of like prep class.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to take business management?
I was actually interested in business because I've always kind of just had the mindset and I feel like qualities of being an entrepreneur, and I heard about it and I was like, why not? It was honors weighted, so in my high school transcript it brought my grade up. Right. And I've also heard really good reviews about it, and it's a college weighted class too, so I was getting high school and college credit about it with it, like you were saying earlier, so I thought it was just a win-win-win.
Absolutely, I would agree, right? Yeah. So you took this class, it was after school, right?
Mm-hmm. It was only once or twice a week, so it was very easy. I know a bunch of high schoolers, they're intimidated because it's another class to get on their schedule, but it's actually very classwork based and collaboration for most of the classes rather than homework. So whenever we did have homework, it was done in 30 minutes. I'm not exaggerating that at all.
So that you actually kind of answered my question about how it's different from the other classes, right? Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you would say was different about a CCA class versus a core class that you would take during the day? Or
yeah, I actually so since it's a CCA class, so it's kind of based more on your strengths and your passions. There it's just an accumulation of like-minded individuals, and it's a very positive working environment because you guys all share the same interests, and it's really nice. And it's not bound to oh, this is a freshman class. No, you, as a sophomore, I was with my senior friends, and it was a great way to connect with other people who have shared the same interests as you. And honestly, it was it was much easier than my normal high school classes. Okay. So if you guys are, if anyone's intimidated that it's gonna be oh, it's a college rated class, it must be really hard. It was actually pretty easy and very light workload.
Well, that's good to know. I'd love to hear that. How has this shaped your plans for the future? How has this impacted kind of what you're planning to do down the line?
Honestly, I thought it was very helpful with my learning more of what I genuinely what I genuinely enjoy, and it made me realize how I work with other people, because since it was very collaborative, I've always been in leadership positions, but being put in that environment where it's you're doing what you're thinking of about majoring in, it really puts into perspective oh, this is what I this is how I should approach things. This is my learning habits. And it was very informative, and it was a great learning experience.
I'm so happy to hear that. Mrs. Whiteside is such an amazing teacher.
Yeah, I love Miss Whiteside.
So finally, one last question for you. Is there anything else that you want to add about your experience that you want families to know about CCA as they're thinking about this for their child, possibly?
I very much recommend it. I wish I did it as a freshman. It was kind of my gateway to kind of doing more college course classes. And that's something I vehemently argue for and really advocate towards my friends, because it's very helpful with just learning what you're really passionate about, and it's very empowering to kind of explore that part of yourself. And it looks really good on resumes. If you're trying to major in something that you're interested in, they will see that you are willing to put in the work and you've been trained to develop those characteristics. And it's just a good way for you to learn more about your passions and develop your skills in that field. And my teacher, who's working one of the CCA classes, actually told me that her students in biotech are already getting like job opportunities right as they get out of high school. And that's very not common.
Yeah.
Right when you get out of high school, you're already getting internships and like work, and like not just internships, you like they are getting paid, and it's like very, very advantageous.
Yeah, because they're getting certifications, right? So those students have the option of getting a lab certification, which can make them highly employable because they can work in a lab right off the bat. So that's what she was probably talking about. Amanda, thank you so much. I love your enthusiasm and I know how much you love CCA, and thank you for sharing kind of your experience with our families. I know it helps them to hear from a student definitely who has benefited from it. So thank you for being with us so much tonight. We appreciate you.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks, Amanda. So Amanda makes a good point that I'm going to reiterate. This is great for college. It's great for after college. It's great for students who don't want to go to college right off the bat. I can't emphasize that enough. As a former college admissions reader for the UCs, to see an academic story, to see an interest roll out in a student's academic record says a lot about the student. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute, about how this can look for your child, okay, and how we can play around with the CTE offerings at your school and really help create this journey for them and help them explore and also kind of demonstrate their academic ability and interest while they're in high school. So we're going to talk about, first of all, before we go into Aliso and Tesoro, what is offered after school. CCA is amazing. We have CCA courses provided during the day, during the bell schedule, so your students can take it as part of their regular bell schedule. In addition to that, CCA offers after school classes for those who might have a schedule that's too full, or for those students who might want to pursue a class that's not offered at their high school, right? So the CCA is really trying to provide opportunities for students during school and after school. So I want to first familiarize you, and there's a reason behind why I'm doing this first, but I want to first familiarize you with what is going to be offered after school. This is what is offered next school year for our students, okay? You'll see here that these courses are offered at different campuses all over the district. Transportation can be an issue for the younger students, but as they get older, they can drive themselves. All of these courses are typically offered 1 to 3 days a week, actually typically about 2 nights a week after school, so it's not a daily commitment. But these are the courses that are being offered after school next year, okay? And it changes a little bit year to year, but you'll see here the vast breadth of careers and industries that students can learn about after school. Aviation, right? Cybersecurity, hospitality, careers is actually going to be a new one this year after school. And then you see a ton of STEM focused classes like robotics, a lot of health sciences courses, right? But these are available to our students. Anything that is bolded has an internship, right? Just a caveat for all of you in here, internship courses do require students be 16 years old. So for our younger students, it's not going to be an opportunity that they can take advantage of right away, but something that they can absolutely work towards and look forward to, okay? But you'll get access to this after tonight, and I'm going to give you resources to look at this in more depth, but I want you to see what is offered after school and how this can tie into your students' academic journey. We're going to start off with Aliso and Niguel. We're going to go alphabetically. So Aliso goes first and then Tesoro will go afterwards, okay? But let's talk about the courses that are offered at Aliso Niguel High School during the school day, okay? So what is offered to Aliso students during their bell schedule? As you can see here, there's a really fun variety of classes. And if you go to all of these presentations, you'll see that every high school has their own kind of niche, and they have their own little things that they kind of specialize in or have students will have access to, right? For example, Aliso has a culinary program. They have an excellent classroom with this amazing kitchen. So the students there have the benefit of taking culinary arts, a whole array of culinary arts classes. They also are unique in that they offer architectural design. So there is, you know, a pathway to explore in that area, and also a pathway to explore if you're interested in engineering as well. But those are definitely culinary, something that sticks out to me, as well as automotive technology is super awesome, and students have access to that at Aliso. And automotive technology is articulated with the community college. So that would actually be an honors weighted class, which is pretty cool, right? But forensic science, I mean, let me tell you, Dr. Belanto, who teaches that at Aliso, is the nicest person, so enthusiastic and passionate about what he teaches. And the students love the class. I've had a lot of students tell me how much they like it and how much they've heard that it's an amazing class. And as Amanda mentioned earlier, Mrs. Whiteside, one of our very own counselors at Aliso, teaches business management and entrepreneurship after school. So this takes me to the next slide, which is what is offered at Aliso after school, right? So if your student can't take something during the bell schedule, know that at Aliso, there are a few CCA courses on campus. If transportation is going to be an issue, they still can take these 3 classes next year after school: business, auto tech, and hospitality, or hotel hospitality careers, excuse me. So just some options that they can take after school. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into a fun game of how can we explore career pathways at Aliso, based on what is offered at Aliso and what's offered after school, right? So I'm going to help you brainstorm what it can look like for a student to say, man, I'm kind of interested in architecture. How can I do this thing while I'm in school? I'm interested in design. How can I show that I'm interested in this? And how can I take classes that are going to help me learn more about this, right? So let's start with architectural design. At Aliso, students can take architectural design, and once they complete that class, these are year-long classes, they can move on into the next year by taking architectural engineering. That's an advanced level course. So on their transcript, in their experience, they have 2 years worth of architectural work, right? Of experience with computer-aided design, with learning these very awesome and basic principles that they should know if they're interested in something like this. I can't tell you how great that would look for a student who wants to major in architecture, who wants to apply to Cal Poly SLO for their Bachelor of Architecture program, to know that the student took architectural design and architectural engineering in high school can really say a lot about that student's ambitions and their journey. Another thing that students can explore is automotive and transportation, right? That kind of pathway. How can they do that? What would that look like for a student? They could take, for example, auto mechanics and auto technology at Aliso. Those are all year-long courses. And in addition to that, if they were really interested in transportation, they could also look into taking aviation careers at Tesoro at some point during their high school career as well. And then this student would have a really well-rounded automotive transportation kind of resume, if you want to think of it that way, right? And I know I'm going to kind of power through these. You don't have to memorize this. You're going to have access to this. This is the kind of planning and strategizing we can do with your student, your counselors can do with your student as they're trying to pick out what they want to focus on or what they want to explore, right? Culinary arts and hospitality, these are all the options available to them at Aliso. And if they wanted to go above and beyond, they can take hospitality, hotel and hospitality careers after school as well, so that they can get into management if that's something they want to do after they graduate, right? Or if they want to major in hospitality in college. Engineering is very popular with our students, and as a result, CCA has answered that call by providing a ton of STEM courses. We have architectural design, we have rapid prototype, right? Again, that architectural engineering class. And then after school, if they wanted to pad up that experience, they could then sign up for robotics at Capo Valley after school. In this class, students will be competing with their classmates, not with their classmates, they compete as a team at competitions, robotics competitions. And they have a whole array of different types of robotics areas that they can study if they sign up for these after school classes. Again, another great way to demonstrate their interest, to flex that engineering muscle if that's what they're interested in, right? So I'm hoping that you can kind of get the idea as we're moving along, is that CCA can be used to really help a student explore and to grow academically at the same time. If they're interested in information and communication technology pathways, right, they can take AP computer science at Aliso. And after school, they can then take cybersecurity 1 year at San Clemente High School, if it's offered. It's going to change. It'll be exciting every year to see what's offered after school, but there's usually a really great variety for students. So don't worry about that if you feel like your student can't take advantage of something right away. And at Aliso and after school, students have a great opportunity to really explore arts, media, entertainment, that entire sector, right? We have stagecraft and theater production for students who are interested in that. We have a lot of visual and media arts and design opportunities on campus and then after school. We have an amazing fashion design class that's at Capo Valley. So for students who are really interested in design, they can take advantage of what's offered at school and then pad it up again with something like fashion design after school. That really begins to develop this visual design portfolio for a student, right? So another great opportunity for them. Performing arts opportunities on campus, actors repertory, TV broadcast journalism at Aliso. That would be students working on the Morning Howl, which is the weekly like news report video that the students produce. It's super cool, but a great way for students interested in that area to pursue something along that line at school. Health sciences is also a very popular career pathway that our students are interested in. And at Aliso, students can take advantage of sports medicine and biotechnology. Like Amanda said earlier, biotechnology can really open up some doors for students if they opt for that lab technician certification process as well. And then after school, and I have a lot of students at Aliso doing this, after school, they're taking all sorts of other classes throughout the year. And keep in mind, CCA will also offer summer school. So we don't know what they're going to offer yet, but once that's released, our students can start as early as summer. Last summer, emergency medical responder was provided for students as an option. And a lot of my students who want to become doctors and nurses actually took that last summer, right? But you can see here the breadth of options that students have throughout high school, because this is not to be completed in one school. This is, you know, throughout high school, this is what they have access to on top of all of the amazing academic stuff that they can study while they're in school, right? Dental assisting, medical assisting, pharmacy clerk, medical corps, medical hospital careers. Many of these, anything bolded, includes an internship. Okay, so a great way for them to explore and get that hands-on experience. Public safety is another area that students are really passionate about. I have a lot of students who want to become firefighters. And again, they can start with sports med and forensic science. That falls under public safety, right? And then after school, they can take emergency medical technician and actually prepare and sit for that licensing exam by the end of it if they're of age. They can take fire science and prepare to go off to a fire academy. Rocco, the fire science teacher, right? I know him lovingly by his first name, so I'm so sorry that DiFrancesco, that's his name, Mr. DiFrancesco. He teaches fire science. He's a retired firefighter, and he's absolutely amazing and loves what he does. Is an excellent resource to students, just as an example of the type of experience that you're going to see in these classrooms. Okay, lifeguarding is actually going to be new this year. So I know that was kind of like a quick little journey through what students can do, but the purpose of tonight is for you to see the vast options that are out there for your students. And we can certainly be here to guide them and to help them pick that journey out for themselves as they go along throughout high school, right? One more thing about Aliso is that Aliso is fortunate enough to have a college and career center. I am fortunate enough to be there currently a few days a week, and hopefully by next year I'll be there the whole time. But in the career center, please, if your student is going to Aliso next year or is there now, have them come visit me. This is a picture of the grand opening day, but I can talk to them about anything, you know, related to college and career, including their CTE pathway, their CTE journey. I'm here for one-on-one appointments, for group workshops, presentations available during the school day and after school for families. Okay, so parent and student meetings. So keep that in mind. A really cool feature, and this is all thanks to CCA, who has really invested in the college and career component of a student's journey throughout high school. So take advantage of it, please. So that was Aliso in a nutshell. Let's talk about Tesoro and all of the unique things Tesoro has to offer, because Tesoro is different, right? Every high school has their own little thing, which is really exciting. So let's see what Tesoro has to offer. That might be a little bit different, but some of the things that there's crossover in. So at Tesoro, I love that there is accounting. because it's great for students interested in business because they also have business management. Mr. Cunningham, who teaches these two classes, is really passionate about his work and does some really great work in this area. So students are in great hands if they're in that class. You have classes like chemistry and environmental engineering. Another thing I love about Tesoro is this educational lean for students who are interested in education or teaching, right? We have child and adolescent literature, we have educational psychology. There's commercial music at Tesoro too, which is really cool because not all of the high schools have that. So as you can see here, as it's rolling out, you can see the differences between the high schools and the different opportunities that you have at each site. So like we did with Aliso, and actually one more thing, one class that's offered after school at Tesoro is aviation careers. If you have a student who's interested in transportation, in drones, in flying, obviously, right? Aviation careers would be an excellent course to start with. Again, it's an after school class, but it is on Tesoro's campus. Brent Lewis teaches this class. He's amazing. He loves his job. He is an excellent teacher. He is a wealth of knowledge. So if you know any students or if your student is interested in this, I highly encourage you to consider aviation careers. I can't say enough good things about Mr. Lewis. He's an excellent teacher and students really enjoy their class. And all the pictures you're seeing are of CCA students, of them in action. This is a student working on a flight simulator in class. So like we did with Aliso, let's play through some scenarios of things that your student might be interested in and how they can work through this at Tesoro. It's going to be pretty similar to Aliso, right? Because the CCA courses, they try to offer, you know, a good variety that can be semi-consistent across campuses. So stagecraft, again, right, at Tesoro. Tesoro offers stagecraft. Tesoro offers theatrical production. So a student interested in going into the performing arts in maybe behind the scenes stuff, maybe costume design. Actually, a student interested in costume design, and I've had multiple students interested in that, they can do something like stagecraft and theatrical production, and then they can actually take an after-school class in fashion design and be the full package. So that's another way of, you know, picking your a la carte CTE classes and coming up with this journey for yourself so that you begin that exploration early on. Visual media arts, very similar to Aliso, right? These courses are offered at Tesoro: digital photography, multimedia design, video production, all visual and media arts. If they wanted to pad that up after school, they have fashion design, which is a different type of design, right? It actually falls under fashion and interior design, but it is design related and could be great for students who want to maybe open up their own clothing line, right? Who want to design graphics on t-shirts and stuff like that. So a great way to combine the two. Performing arts, yet another way that students can explore at Tesoro. And again, the unique thing at Tesoro would be commercial music. That's super awesome for students who are interested in that and composition and in working in that industry, right? A very unique facet of Tesoro, definitely. Again, you're seeing some repeats, right? Health sciences. What's unique about Tesoro is that they have sports medicine so that students can learn about the world of sports med. And that includes doctors, psychiatrists, sports nutritionists, physical trainers, dietitians, anything that you can think of that supports an athlete. That's what they're going to learn about in sports medicine, just so that you know, a little fun fact. But Tesoro offers medical core. Medical Core is a survey of medical careers, an excellent course for students interested in the medical field. Highly recommend that course. And of course, after school, they can flesh out that story for themselves, that academic story on their college apps, right? With dental assisting, EMT, medical assisting, medical hospital careers, whatever they want, right? Like I said earlier, Tesoro's awesome. They have business classes, so students can take business management and accounting during the day, during the bell schedule. So for students who are interested in finance, who want to work on Wall Street, who want to manage hedge funds, right? These are all things that I've had students come to me saying, I want to do this. So Tesoro offers those opportunities for students during the school day. Education and child development, as I mentioned earlier, unique, love it. Love that there is child and adolescent literature on campus and educational psychology. So many of our students are interested in education and teaching others. So if your child is going into Tesoro High School and interested in that, this is something that they can take advantage of. It's important that you know the opportunities they have, right, available to them at the school. It goes on and on. Information and communication technology. Tesoro offers AP Comp Sci, right, principles. So that's something that they can take advantage of in addition to taking maybe something like cybersecurity after school. Engineering as well. They are unique to Tesoro in that they offer chemistry and environmental engineering. So that's a different kind of lean on engineering, a different area of engineering that a student can pursue. And then they can diversify by engaging in robotics after school at Capo Valley to really kind of stretch their range in engineering, if you will, right? And then, of course, automotive transportation. With aviation careers being after school, it's convenient for Tesoro students. And if they are still interested in more kind of automotive work after that, they can branch out and take automotive mechanics and then automotive technology after school if they wanted to. Okay. I know that was rapid fire, but again, this is just to give you an idea of how your students can really make this work for them and make their learning individualized as they're going through high school, make it meaningful, and really help them grow in the process, right? And an extra added bonus is that it can help make them very competitive for college admissions as well, although that's not everything, okay? Just to let you know, Tesoro is working on opening a college and career center. In fact, we're gonna have college and career centers on all campuses, hopefully by the end of next school year, and that should be coming next school year. So look forward to that, to having somebody there to support your students. And in the meantime, they can absolutely talk to their counselors about any of these questions that they have, right? And they can obviously come to our team. So how do your students register for CCA courses? Two ways. Okay, it depends on if it's a bell schedule class or if it's an after school class. First of all, we want to think about what they're interested in, what they're stoked about, what they're curious about. You know, you don't have to have a passion to pick a pathway. You can be curious and just go for it. And if you don't like it, good. That's valuable information to know as well. So think about what they're interested in, have them kind of talk to you about it. Take a look at the CCA catalog. I'll provide links to all of this in a second. And you'll get the resource. We'll share the resources with you after tonight. I'll email you. But take a look at the course descriptions to see what the classes are all about. And then for courses that are offered during the bell schedule, students have access to that in their portal. It just shows up as an elective option and they can choose it, you know, immediate selection for next school year. And if that window is kind of passed for you based on the school that you're at, talk to your counselor about it when you meet with them for advisement. And they can help you adjust your schedule to reflect the CCA course that you might want to take. Now, if you're interested in an after-school CCA course, it's a different registration process. It's essentially a Google form that has to be filled out. And depending on the high school, they have a different approach to it. So my recommendation to you is to talk to your counselor about how to register. It's very straightforward. It's not complicated at all, but you just want to talk to them about how they want you to register. I know that Aliso students can fill out a Google form on the guidance webpage, and at Tesoro, you'll want to work with your counselor to do that together with them. And after that, you are put on the list for the class and you'll be notified about the class in the fall. It'll be on your high school transcript and you'll just take it like any other course. It just happens to be after school. Okay, but it's really straightforward. I wanted to provide some resources for you before we wrap up tonight. You will have here access to the after bell schedule for next year. You will have access to the CCA course catalog. You're going to have access to the career technical education guide that gives you all the info you need to know about CTE and pathways and the different industry sectors. I'm going to link to CCA's YouTube channel. I did a series with our elementary schools last year where we interviewed a lot of CCA teachers and they gave us tours of their CCA classrooms. I know it's for elementary students, but it was really informative and educational for me. So if you want to take like a glance into a CCA classroom, you should watch the videos and learn a little bit more about different classes that are offered. And then finally, Program Finder is a really, really great resource for students, or for students and parents who want to link career technical education opportunities in high schools and also at the community college, because you can also take CTE classes at the community college as a high school student. It's just through the concurrent enrollment process, and it would be free. So this is a great way of searching for different career pathway opportunities at Saddleback and IBC, for example, and just signing up for a class there after school if nothing CCA offers is up your alley, for example. Okay. But I'm going to send all this to you after tonight. I know that was a lot of information. I wanted to save some time for questions, but thank you so much for showing up and for being here and for learning more about this opportunity for your students. If you have any questions, feel free to throw it in the Q&A or put it in the chat box. And if you don't have any questions, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I hope you join us for our next 2 pathway nights, next Wednesday and the Wednesday after. But thank you so much for being with us. Have a wonderful night. Just know that we are here to support you. Follow us on social if you want the most up-to-date on college and career in CUSD. And that's it. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll stick around for questions if you have any. Great question. So what is the typical time for after school classes? They typically start around 4 o'clock, but some of them will start at maybe 5 or 6. And if they're 2 nights a week, they'll go for a few hours. I'll send you access to the bell schedule, but it can be anything from 4 to 6:30, or maybe sometimes it's 4 to 8:30 if it's a 1 night a week class. So it will depend on how many nights it's offered. It's usually 1 or 2 nights that it's offered, right? But it's going to fall in that window of between 4 and 8 is when those classes typically occur, and how long it is will depend on the class. Awesome question. How do the internships work? Oh, yes, go for it, Kristen. I'm not sure if Kristen wanted to answer the question live, but for internships, students who participate in classes with internships will work with their teachers to be placed in their internship site. Depending on the class, that will look differently. For our medical hospital career classes, students have been placed at Kaiser, they've been placed at doctor's offices, right? But that is arranged between the student and their teacher and the organization, the company, the entity that they will be interning with, but that's set up for them. And that's a built-in part of the class, which is invaluable because it's very difficult for high school students to land internships otherwise for liability reasons and all of that stuff. But that is arranged between the teacher and the student and wherever they'll be interning. And that's part of their classroom hours, right? And so in addition to showing up for class and learning the academic component, the technical skills, they're also applying those technical skills at their internship site throughout the week. And when they intern and how long they intern for will depend on the class. Great question. Any other questions, friends? And if you don't have any questions, you're welcome to log off. I'll make sure to email everybody who registered the presentation slides and the link to resources for tonight as well. I'll give it just about maybe another minute in case anybody is still typing. And otherwise we can call it an evening and I'll make sure to get everything out for you. Okay, so what is a particular course What if a particular course isn't offered at my local high school, but is offered at another? Well, that's the thing about CCA courses, right? Or CTE courses in general, is every high school will have their own set of CTE courses. So, you know, if it's offered at another school, it's offered at another school. I would encourage the student to see if there's an after school offering of a course that they're interested in, so that they could take it after school. But if it's offered at another school, they would not be able to take it at the other high school, right? And so in that regard, students are going to be looking for the classes that are offered at their high school during their bell schedule, what's available to them there. And then their alternative option would be to see what CCA offers after school, after the bell schedule, that aligns with their interests. And also know that CCA will be offering summer courses as well, if neither of those options work out for the student. But that was a great question. Thank you. And Chris makes a great point, right? School of choice, the school of choice window, right? You know, this is part of that exploration process for all of our middle school families, is learning about things like this, to see what might align with your child's needs and interests the most, because every high school will have different CTE offerings, as an example. Any other questions, friends? Okay, well, if not, then I'm going to wish everybody a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We hope to see you at further events. And good luck as you're making all of these awesome kind of big decisions for your incoming ninth graders. We look forward to supporting all of them.